All righty, welcome into some Detroit sports talk. A couple goats, Dennis Fithy and Brian Jelnick. We're ready to go on this Thursday. Jelnick, how you doing? Feeling good?
I'm feeling great, man. This show is perfectly sandwiched in between the afternoon baseball game, the Tampa Bay Rays and Red Sox play night, and Thursday night football. It's an ideal start to the show.
It is pretty nice. Pete Finelli, our intern, is out in Happy Valley. Rob Diddy is behind the scenes as the engineer. And let's say hi to Pete because he is in Happy Valley as he is a student there. He is a sophomore. And Pete, lay the groundwork for us, man. Get everybody jacked up for this game coming up on Saturday as you have a top 5 matchup. It's not there in Halley, but it's in Iowa City. Are people going crazy?
I'm going to be honest. I'm very excited. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. It's been pretty quiet here. I mean, I work over at a student store that sells a ton of like the football merch and just Penn State merch in general. It has been quiet this week. Game day weekends. It's crazy. I'm not really seeing a ton of
calm before the storm. What are you chalking it up to? People don't believe in the team or what?
I don't think it's that. I think it's 4 home games in a row. People are like, all right, we finally got an away game. We got a little break, but it's the biggest game of the year. I don't know. Maybe it's just that, there's no game at the stadium. So all the people who are, huge fans, but only go because it's, we go to Penn State. We got to go to the football games. They're nowhere to be found.
What about my angle where you thought the students were all going to be like, you see the flyers, like we're heading to Iowa City. James Franklin has, bought us a bunch of tickets and we've got free bus fare. There's going to be somebody's going to sneak in a keg. I know you couldn't do that because, you're under 20. You don't have to have a keg to go to Iowa City. Maybe that's just, back in the day kind of talk. What any of that kind of discussion?
I heard nothing like that. I don't know. Maybe that time has passed. I have heard absolutely nothing. There has been very little going on.
That's weak. That is weak.
It is kind of weak, I'm just.
But your plans, you got to work, and then right when you get off, you're pulling on your white T-shirt, and you're running over to your, I don't know, you're running back to the dorm. You're running to a party. Where are you going to watch the game at?
I think Saturday it's my girlfriend's mom's birthday, so I think I'll be over at their house. But they're big fans, so the game will be on.
Okay, that's all right. Hey, you got a girlfriend?
That'll be the big focus. Her dad works with Penn State football.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have to be worried about going in, doing the dishes during the game or anything.
No,
why is Pete so, enthralled with the game? All right, everybody's going to be into it. That's good.
I'm not worried at all.
All right. Well, that's good. Well, we're going to hear back from you in a few minutes, and you'll be able to add your expertise in some football, and especially on that particular top 5 matchup. So we'll see you in a second. Wave to everybody. Oh, we missed him. We missed him waving. All right, so before we got 5 wonderful chapters here to talk about in Detroit sports. Before I do that, I told people about a month ago that I had rewatched The Sopranos in anticipation of the Many Saints of Newark coming out, the movie, the standalone movie that came out. It was on HBO Max. It was out in theaters. And I'd say I watched it, and my experience was that, it's been so long since I anticipated a movie like this and having to go through the whole, 70, 80 hours again, watching The Sopranos and reliving it first time since I watched it originally, 10 years ago. And so it was great. And then I had this little downtime before the movie started again. And then I waited, I looked at noon, even though I knew I had HBO Max. I haven't watched a lot of things I saw, and I'm like, there it is. So I had it. So I waited till dusk. And I got popcorn, and I'm sitting there, and I turned it on, and I started watching. And I watched 15 minutes, and I was so excited and so into it. Like, and I'm not going to give anybody any spoilers or anything. I'll just say a couple things. There's the pork store. Like, I'm like so fired up. I stopped the movie, and I'm like, this is, so what I've been waiting for. This is so hitting the spot. I'm totally going thumbs up. Well, then I got a text from my wife who was going to be home in an hour. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'll just watch another 15 minutes.
That is weak.
Well, you know what? She had been working all day, went to the grocery store, and was picking up food. It's not like I could tell her, like, yeah, you know what? Why don't you just come in? I'm watching a movie. Plus, I'd already stopped it for 15 minutes. So I was like, you know what? it was kind of feeling like the Sopranos vibe, like in a bunch of series. I'm like, well, let me just watch another 15 minutes and I can come back and watch the whole second half later on. I watched the next 15 minutes and I still was kind of thumbs up. But then it took a turn where the last half of the movie had me almost like this. And it was a little, I got a little confused. And then right at the end, there was a little bit of an uptick right there. But, I would love to be sitting here telling you like, Sopranos, Many Saints of Newark, so great. I thought the beginning was great like that. And right at the end, boy, it's got my blood racing through everything, that Sopranos blood. But, that's my review for as much as I can give it to you for.
See, I've heard only mixed reviews, mostly negative reviews about the movie. I heard it's not that good. It kind of ruins the Sopranos movie or the Sopranos show in a way. I talked to my dad about it, who just watched, and he loves anything gang related, mob related, anything like that. So
I like your dad. Him and I would get along.
He automatically threw like a double thumbs up. He's like, I loved it. It was an awesome movie, all that type of stuff. My mom, on the other hand, was definitely more skeptical and did not like it as much. So I still need to watch it. But I've heard I am not looking forward to it because I haven't heard it's that great.
What is difficult when you have a great series like that, it's always going to be one of these things when you don't, like if they would have come out, it was a little bit of a mini series. If they would have put like a 6 to 8 hour type mini series together, they had a lot more to work with. But when you only have 2 hours to work with, you got to jam everything in there. I just watched it again. And I was a little bit lost in there. I didn't really like the storyline, but there was enough parts in it where it got me fired up. And especially this one, because I had just, like I said, watched it. There's kind of like an obscure reference in like one of the, he fires a gun through his wife's, hair or something. And Tony had talked about that during the original Sopranos, and he was fighting with his sister about it. I think it's what him and Bobby got into the fight over the Monopoly. They were like talking about that situation. And then here it was in the movie. And I was like, hey, that was awesome. So there were things like that, and just seeing the front of the pork store, you see it, you're like, oh my God, this has got so many great possibilities, but a little too confusing for me. And so like, it went like this, and then it was down here, and then it stirred up a little bit. So that's where I'm at. That's my review.
Little roller coaster emotions for you on that movie.
Yeah. Maybe I thought too much. It's tough. I liked, Better Call Saul is awesome. It's as good as Breaking Bad. Not the first season, but the ensuing seasons were all awesome. I give it an A+. So, and what's another series that went to a movie but didn't do a prequel?
Entourage.
They did that.
The movie wasn't bad for Entourage.
Downton Abbey did it, and I thought they did a great job. It's a little bit different genre probably from what you're watching, but I liked what they did there. So there you go. And then the Breaking Bad movie after, right? I thought that was halfway decent.
Oh, I'm actually one of the few people on the planet who's never seen Breaking Bad. I don't like being part of the majority of people. I like being on the outside. Same with Game of Thrones, all that. I just haven't watched it.
Let's go ahead and give you two thumbs down.
When we bring Pete back in later, I think he's giving me a thumbs up. So I got one kid on my side.
It's all right. You didn't watch Breaking Bad. You didn't watch Game of Thrones. All right.
Game of Thrones was terrible, man. I'm sorry. It was so bad.
The last season?
I only watched season 1 and one episode of season 2. Then I got up. I was just like, I'm done. Can't do it. Couldn't do it.
All right. Well, there's Jelinek standing out on his own island. We've got 5 things to get to, 5 chapters in Detroit sports to talk about. What are those chapters? You can probably guess them. There's the book as we take a look at it. Oh, the Lions. They got a game coming up. We'll start out with them, talking about the Vikings, what's going on with them. We've got Michigan and Michigan State football to talk about. With baseball going on right now, we'll get to the Tigers there in the 3rd chapter. And there it is. Oh, there's some baseball right now. There's a long drive, and it is gone. A home run. That's a walk-off for the Dodgers. That happened last night. We'll get to that. And Pistons and Red Wings, both now in the exhibition season. We'll talk about where we're at and our interest here before they actually get it going here in a week and then 2 weeks, respectively. And then it is Thursday. We will make some picks. We'll tell you how we did last week, and we'll get to some picks. You ready to go, John?
Let's do it, man. Let's hop into chapter 1.
Yeah, that's the best place to start, chapter 1, and that takes us to the Lions. They have a game coming up here against the Vikings, and there you see it, 0-4, the Lions, and they'll travel to Minneapolis, and there it is. Jelinek has his paper bag. His paper bag ready. You kind of know what he's feeling about. So take us through your emotions here and what you're thinking about as you get ready for Game 5 for the Lions, the 0-4 Lions, who are now a 9.5-point underdog taking on the Vikings.
All right. First of all, I think the Lions they're not going to win the game, but I think they're going to do exactly what they've been doing for the first 4 weeks of the season. Is one terrible half of football. Goff will figure it out in the second half, and they'll be a solid second half of football, at least for the offense. I am worried that T.J. Hawkinson didn't practice today. Penei Sewell did not practice. I don't think we're not going to have Penei Sewell on Sunday. DeAndre Swift is banged up. Jamal Williams is banged up. Michael Brockers is banged up. Trey Flowers is banged up. And there we go. That's Kyle Meinke saying the Lions are planning to be without Penei Sewell this week per Anthony Lynn. So, yeah, that's bad. Worried about that. And I don't know, man. I'm not really sure what to expect anymore. I am starting to think about SOL more and more each week for that reason. And I'm not sure if it's Dan Campbell's fault. I'm not sure if it's just how bad the team is, injuries. I just don't know where to begin.
Well, they were going to be bad to begin with. I think you start there. We remember that. They were playing the long view. Only the Texans had worse odds in the NFL, so we knew that. They've had, I don't know, a lot of injuries, a lot of man games lost here to injuries, whether you call that an excuse or whatever else. But when you're a thin team to begin with and you get hit with a bunch of injuries, that just adds on to it. And so here they are. You know, the biggest story with this team right now is that goose egg in the win column.
Yep.
Like it does, you know, when you showed me your paper bag earlier, you texted me, I went through my phone and I went to Facebook because I remember my first, I think my first ever picture was one that I took during the 0-16 Lions season when the Rieger was next to me and he came in and he wore a paper bag the whole show. And he just sat there the whole time. Somebody took a picture. I'm like, hey, this is going to be my picture. And I had that one up there for a couple of years. And I don't know if it's ironic or not, but I was like, ooh, 2008. This is the 13th year since that picture. And here we are, the Lions 0-4. That's the biggest story when it comes down to the Lions. Will they get off to Schneid? Could they possibly go 0-17? And my thought was that, no, 0-17, it's really hard to go winless.
That's not going to happen.
Well, you don't think so. And then you say, well, you'd have to have an injury to Goff. Like if that would happen, I could say, you know what, maybe.
Yeah.
But then, that was my first thought. My second one that it's very difficult to do anyways. I point to the Dolphins just last year where they were trying, well, I guess 2 years ago when they were trading everybody away and they went in and they ended up, the Lions picked lower than them. So it's difficult to do. Even if you're giving everybody away, the Texans were throwing the seed. They won the first game. It's hard to go winless. But then you already mentioned some of the injuries. The one thing that the Lions had going for them that we talked about this year is like, and if we're all talking about how to win football games, it's hard to argue if somebody comes in, if Brad Holmes comes up and said, look, we're going to build from the lines out. We're going to have a great unit, and we're going to start with the offensive line. The previous regime, their first draft pick, first round, Taylor Decker.
Yep.
They went with Frank Ragnow in the first round at center, and both of those guys hit. They're excellent. In Ragnow's case, he might be the best center in the league.
Yeah,
Decker's pretty good. And now they I'd say triple down with Penei Sewell, 3 first-rounders on the first round on the line. So you say, hey, at the very least, they should be able to control the line of scrimmage, be able to run the ball, keep them in games. Now all 3 of those guys are going to be out, like what we're talking about. I see disaster on Sunday. I think the combination of Captain Kirk Cousins having the disaster game, the Vikings at home last week against the Browns, after their first drive, they were shut out against Cleveland. They got to be licking their chops now. They're pissed off. Here comes the Lions. I just don't. I'll get to that pick coming up in the 5th chapter, but I don't feel very good about the Lions' chances to keep it close at all. But the biggest story remains now, as long as they have the goose egg there, I don't know if it's a harsh thing to say or whatever else, but when you're talking about the overall interest of Detroit sports fans, if they have that to like cling on to, like, oh my God, this is despicable. Can it happen? As long as you're riding that wave of emotion, there will be, the interest level is going to be really high for the Lions.
Yeah, and again, I don't think they're going to go 0-17 at all. I thought they would have one win by week 5 without a doubt. And I'm glad you brought up Captain Kirk and the offensive line, because going into the game 2 weeks ago, I could say, you know what, Kirk Cousins is having a nice year, but I still love our defense going against Kirk, just for the reason that Kirk Cousins is not that good at the end of the day. He may be having a good season this year. He's top 10 in the league in passing with about 270 yards a game. That's fine. But at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins is still Kirk Cousins. If you're flipping the script and putting the Lions offense out there, 2 weeks ago when people were, or at least when Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow were happy, I'd be like, okay, I understand that Minnesota, they sacked the quarterback a lot and they rushed the quarterback. I mean, they have 13 sacks through the first 4 games, and Daniel Hunter has 5 already. That's incredible. And then if you take Penei Sewell, who's been rocky at left tackle, and Frank Ragnow, one of the best centers in the league, off the Lions offensive line, Jared Goff is screwed. I don't know. I don't see anything happening with the run game, with Goff doing stuff, because Goff under pressure is not very great to begin with. I'm really worried now that Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker's obviously not there, and now Penei Sewell's not there. We're screwed, man. There's no other way around it. We are cooked.
Yeah, I think the phrase is, this is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Zimmer with his exotic blitz, the Vikings coming off a bad loss, the Lions with a depleted offensive line, Jared Goff, the number 1 player in the NFL for fumbles at any position, the lowest yards per attempt at the quarterback position. It's bad. So there's. I know in some of these other games, I think, they fight, they fought against San Francisco in the second half after they were down, and they had the lead against the Packers, and it's just a divisional game. But, at some point, all of this, they did same thing against the Bears. They came out there, they fought back after being down 14-0. I don't feel good at all. I don't see, like, if somebody said, hey, what about a free $100 you put on the money line for the Lions? Like here it is. I'd be like, let's save your money. I don't like
wasting money.
Can I put it on or can I just throw a dart at any other? Can I bet, the Eastern Michigan game, or give me any other game, to bet besides the Lions on the money line. I have no confidence in them.
Well, on top of that, too, Minnesota's defense, the first 2 games gave up like 62 points or something like that. So they're giving up like 30, 31 points a game. In the last 2 games, they've given up maybe 15, maybe 16 points each game. Minnesota's defense is clicking right now, and that's just, like we were talking about a second ago, that is just a recipe for disaster. The Lions are screwed in week 5. So they're going to go from 0-5 to 0-6.
0-4. They're headed to
0-4 to 0-5. Excuse me.
You know what? Hey,
what's the difference? What's the difference at this point?
It's a goose egg. I mean, that's the part. That's the part that's important. All right. Well, let's get to chapter 2. Oh wait, we're going to talk about the rest of the NFL here.
Yeah, we got chapter 1B to talk about.
We do. So we got the Lions there, and also to talk a little bit about the NFL, like he has for the last couple of weeks, is Frun keeping the score. The popular YouTube cast. It is Adrian Myers, who's on the show. I guess somebody's got to click him in there. I saw him for a hot second.
Let's
click him in.
Again.
There he is.
What's up, fellas? What's up, fellas?
Yo, Adrian, what's up, man? So I don't know. You just had to listen to us cry about the Lions there. Sorry. You get double the money listening to us cry about the Lions.
Hey, listen, I can't talk much right now watching these Steelers play, so I feel the pain right now. So,
yeah, you are feeling the pain with the Steelers. I feel the pain whenever I see anybody talk about Ben Roethlisberger. I'm a fan of Ben Roethlisberger. I'm a fan of the Steelers this year. I thought that they were gonna make a last kick at the can and everything, but man, nobody's like. I haven't heard one person, Adrian, say, you know what? I think Big Ben somehow reverses the trend here and goes down fighting. There's not one person that I've heard say that.
No, they've been, even Ryan Clark on ESPN, who's a big Steelers guy, has been, finally got to give it in. I've been saying this for the last 2 years. Like I said, it's turning into Eli Manning 2.0. So it's missing throws down the field, man. It just can't move, man. If you look at Big Ben's upper body compared to his lower body, it just doesn't look right. So
yeah, he's a weirdly proportioned man
Yeah.
to begin with, and he just has nothing going on downstairs. Like that man is a statue in the pocket, out of the pocket. Like I just how many more games can Mike Tomlin be like, all right, yeah, this is our guy?
I would say they play Denver. Actually, I think this week is probably their best chance to get a win because I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be out, and Drew Lock is not good at all. We knocked him out the game last year, so we'll see. And then they got Jerry Jeudy out and KJ Hamler out, so they're going to be a little challenged offensively, just like us. And their offensive line hasn't played good, but this game could be pretty ugly. I think it could be a really low scoring game.
Tell you what's ugly is last year. It just reminded me, it was late on Halloween after Michigan lost to Michigan State. My wife came in and said, "You don't have anything going on downstairs." So I was like, "Wait a second, what do you mean?" All right, well, you know what? I do think, I want to give one shout out to somebody who does think that maybe Big Ben. I thought about it, Mike Tomlin. I watched his news conference
Yes,
this week,
too.
and he's I've always liked Tomlin.
You can't hate the man.
He's pretty
At all.
straightforward. And the thing that I really give him credit for is just like, you know what? I'm going to show up for the opposing writers. Like, I appreciate what's going on with the media. So, you know what? That's a solid move by Mike Tomlin. I wish more coaches, all the coaches should do that. Like, and for people that missed that, like, he wanted to make sure that he was going to get the assembled media from Denver and make sure that they had the allotted time with them. And that's a solid move for the coach.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brian. You go ahead.
I was just going to say, I heard a take on the radio today that outside of Bill Belichick, you can make the argument that Mike Tomlin has been one of the best, if not the second best coach in the NFL in the past, I don't know, decade. How long has he been in Pittsburgh for?
Since 05, 06,
Yeah,
the year after when Kyle retired.
That's right.
Yeah, he is yet to have a season below 500. I think that's going to happen this year. But
yeah,
Mike Tomlin's been the man. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the best franchises in North American sports, and Mike Tomlin is a huge part of that. So, like you guys were saying, I love Mike Tomlin. I kind of feel bad for him that he's stuck with Big Ben right now, and the Steelers did a bad job about bringing Big Ben back this year.
This year I knew it was going to happen, but they failed when they decided not to have a succession plan because, like I said, they want to coddle him and make him feel good. He's never been uncomfortable, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
you can't be scared of competition. That's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's a business. So NFL teams are still going to keep pushing on, and you're just going to get left behind. Look at the division right now. You got a young Joe Burrow, super talented, Lamar Jackson. Even Baker's better than Ben right now, and I hate to even say that because I hate Cleveland as much as any Steelers fan on the earth. But we're lagging behind right now. You seen Justin Herbert? I wish we had a Justin Herbert.
I wish we had Justin Herbert too. That kid is electric. Watching that Monday Night Football game was just unbelievable. Some of the stuff he can do.
All right, guys, we are into week 5 in the NFL. If I ask you just to take a look at what games are jumping out, I'll go first. And tonight, anytime you get the NFC West, if you get a battle of NFC West teams, it's must-see football. And tonight you get the Rams and Matt Stafford going up to take on the Seahawks. And you know what? When I look at this division here, Seattle went to San Francisco. That was impressive, being able to do that. Jimmy G got knocked out here. The Rams got beat, and they weren't very impressive at home against the Cardinals. But I like the Rams tonight. Chris Carson is going to be out against the Seahawks, and I just think the Seahawks are feeling pretty good about themselves, and I know they'll be home in front of the 12th man and everything. But I think because Carson being out and then the Rams losing this week, and I know it's 2.5, I really like the Rams tonight. I think this is the headliner to get us going here for week 5. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Brian.
I just first of all, I love how the NFL is making an effort for better Thursday night football games. Like this may be the best game of the week, period. I'm glad that it is a primetime game. I'm not waiting on Sunday night or Monday night to have this game. So thank you, NFL. Thank you for making this a good week. But the Rams looked mortal last week. Like their defense really has to wake up. And I think we talked about it either last week or on Tuesday. They have Jalen Ramsey, one of the best corners in the league, and they have Aaron Donald, who may overall be the best player in the league. And I like the little music drop there. But the Rams defense really has to wake up because the offense is going to keep up and they're going to score points, whether Matt Stafford's having a good game or a bad game. Just the run game's good. They got Cooper Kupp. I mean, you can't really hit in the offense, but that defense really has to do a better job. And I really can never bet against Russell Wilson. The dude's electric, and I would be worried just for the Rams, just for their defense, to going against Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett like that. But overall, I do like the Rams tonight.
I'm gonna change course here, and I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I think they're gonna get a little bit of momentum going tonight, especially at home with the 12th man. I'm gonna say let Russ cook. I know Carson's out, but Russ always finds a way to make some plays. And I think coming off the short week in the Rams, I know they didn't play well, but they're traveling. I think Russ is gonna play with a lot of energy tonight, and they're wearing these crazy, actually really green uniforms that I really love. Those are some of my favorite uniforms.
Oh,
in the
the
NFL.
highlighter ones?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's
definitely.
a bad take.
Yeah, I like him personally, but I'm
do
gonna
too.
go. I'm gonna go with Russ tonight. I think he's gonna have a monster game tonight. I really do.
All right, I've never talked with you guys about how you feel about the London games, but we do have a London game coming up this Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Not the greatest matchup on paper. Calvin Ridley not making the trip. My wide receiver one not going to be out there for me. So, you get the Falcons and the Jets. All right, let's start with Adrian here. What do you think about 9:30 a.m. breakfast? Strawberries and cream with the NFL. Where are you at with that?
With this game, I seen it I realized a week ago when they showed the promo for it after watching the Steelers game, but I was like, oh, that's a nasty game. A lot of people, I'm a real NFL fan, so I'm gonna watch it, but I just heard that Russell Gage is out too, so he's not traveling. So Matt Ryan's top 2 targets are out. So we might see a lot of Kyle Pitts. Might see a really big breakout game from Kyle Pitts Sunday. So I'm gonna I hate to do it to myself, and the Jets play really well, but thinking they caught a really good break with Julio and AJ not playing, and I don't know what the Titans were doing Sunday. It was terrible game plan, but I'm gonna take Matt Ryan and the Falcons in a close one because Zach Wilson's still prone to make mistakes right now, but he's playing a lot better and he's looking good. But that Jets defense, man, is pretty good, and I just don't think they have the secondary to stay in the game.
How about Adrian saying that he's going to watch that? So he's going to start it at 9:30, and he's going to have the 1:00 game. He's going to have the 4:25 games, and he's going to get into the Sunday night game. He could be watching football from 9:30 a.m. till midnight on Sunday. That's a hell of a lot of football. Jellick, you had your thumbs down right off the bat. Was it because of the matchup, or was it because it was breakfast with the NFL?
Well, I love the idea of NFL football being on at 9:30 in the morning, like waking up, having a cup of coffee, just sitting back on the couch at 9:30 watching football. I love that aspect of it. But the London games are basically turning into what Thursday night football games used to be, times 10, on fire, in a dumpster full of vomit. Like, that is a terrible game in every way. I mean, Calvin Ridley's not there. Russell Gage isn't there. Matt Ryan is on the Big Ben path. I mean, Matt Ryan can still throw the ball, but it's not nearly as like Matty Ice like. But I like the idea of football being on in the morning. And the only reason why I'm watching is A, because it's football and football's king. B, I haven't yet to see Kyle Pitts or Zach Wilson play, so I'm excited for that. And just it's on in the morning. But overall, it's gonna be a terrible game. And give me Zach Wilson just for the fact that he's coming off a nice game against Tennessee. And yeah, if Corey Davis can pick it up a little bit, I like the idea of the Jets winning in London.
I like how they put the game and make it where you can get it at, like, whether it's Amazon Prime or I think you can, in the years past, you just be on Twitter and like, hey, you want to watch the game? There it is. Just pop it up. Like, hey, I'm out at the park walking around watching the NFL game and just sit around, watch a couple plays. I like that part. It breaks away my routine. I got to try to get a little bit, like, you try to keep your quarterback upright. I try to get upright, on Sunday morning because I'm going to be sitting down so much, so all of a sudden I can imagine people that are going to church on Sunday morning grabbing their, like, what's going on here with the phone? And I'm doing the same thing when I'm out at the park here. But, that's the biggest thing to me. Like, it would be a game that otherwise would get lost in the shuffle in the 1 o'clock, the 8-9 games, kick it to 9:30. Hey, you know what? You can check it out a little bit, watch a few minutes. And like I said, you can get it at different spots, man. I'm not sure who they signed with. Maybe I watch it on Hulu or something, but being able to watch this game just randomly being able to stream it's a pretty good idea. I like that part.
That's the best part about it.
All right. Well, good. Boys, what about any of the other games? Any other of these games jumping out at you that we're taking a look for? Go ahead, Adrian.
Absolutely. We got Cleveland. I believe they're traveling to let's me double check that to make
Chargers.
sure.
They are at SoFi. That's the game I was going to talk about as well.
That is the game I am looking forward to right now.
Mhm.
As we know, Baker is in a contract year, right? So if Cleveland, which I think they're going to pay him, he has to show that he can compete with his counterparts, as a Josh Allen, a Justin Herbert, a Pat Mahomes, like standard category. And Cleveland's, they finally get a little bit of success, but how can he handle that? And I just read a report today. He said he's playing with a partially torn labrum in his left shoulder. So is that going to affect him? I mean, I know it's not his throwing shoulder, but we can see if the Chargers can hit him, make some effect on him. It could prove pretty dividends, but this is the game I'm really looking forward to. And Justin Herbert is going up against a really good defense. I think Cleveland's got the second-ranked defense in the league. They held Minnesota to 7 points after that first drive. Derwin James, Mike Davis, Joey Bosa. Cleveland's looking a little shaky on offense lately. But I think what they're going to do is try to pound the rock with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and hold that passing game down. But I'm really liking the Chargers right here. I like the momentum they're coming. They really should be undefeated after blowing that game against the Dallas Cowboys. So that's what I'm really looking forward to right there.
Yeah, and to add on to what Adrian was saying, it's just the Chargers have top units on both sides of the football. And watching Herbert go against a really high-ranking defense is going to be awesome. But when it comes to the Cleveland Browns offense, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt can only do so much. I mean, I get that they're going to pound the hell out of the rock, but Baker Mayfield, whether he's healthy or not, has to be better. And if Baker Mayfield is playing well and throwing for at least, a couple touchdowns and 250 yards, the Browns can just be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC. But Baker Mayfield, as of right now and through week 4, has not done that. So that's what I'm worried about when it comes to the Browns. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it just seems weird talking about Cleveland like being a must-watch game, but you guys making a case, and I'm buying it a little bit, especially after what we saw from the Chargers, who my friend called me up earlier, and he only bets like a couple dollars, and he's like, "I went huge on the Chargers on Monday night." I'm like, "You went huge?" Like he said, "Well, there was a lightning bolt, out in LA, and he's like, I thought that was an omen, so I went and bet 4 times the amount on the Chargers." I'm like, wow, great move. I don't know, it was a great move there, but he went with the Chargers because there was a lightning before the game. Pete Finelli, who's out in Pennsylvania, he's always interested in whether it's the Steelers or the Eagles. What other games? What's the game that you're keeping an eye on, Pete? After you'll be celebrating, you'll probably be up really late, celebrating that Penn State win.
Oh, let's hope. No, I think it's the Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's the Sunday night game. It's the Bills at the Chiefs.
Ooh,
and I'm thinking
that's a good one. That's a good one.
This is reminding me of the Rams-Chiefs game. What was it, 2 years ago? That high-scoring game, that was fun to watch because it's essentially the two best offenses in the league right now. The Bills are hot right now, coming in off that shutout. And the Chiefs are good on offense, and they suck on defense. So
who else is hot?
What?
Patterson.
Yeah.
Cordell Patterson. We forgot about it with no Calvin Ridley. Is he eating over there in London? Are we at Cordell Patterson going to be like the MVP now or something after this week?
I'm hoping to get at least one good week out of him for my fantasy lineup before I try to trade him away.
Pete, what are the odds that you're awake for the 9:30 game on Sunday? What are the odds you watch any of that game? 0.
9:30.
Zero chance.
Zero chance.
I will text you at 9:30 to let you know that I'm watching that game.
All right, I don't buy that. I'll believe that when I see it.
My body's been waking me up strangely early this semester. I don't know what it is. There's a good chance I will be up for that game.
You don't need to sleep when you're in college. All right. Any other last thoughts here on the NFL? We got college football to talk about.
Let's move to chapter 2.
Let's do it.
Down. All right. That's for Jelinek then to take us to.
All right. So Michigan and Michigan State are traveling. Michigan is traveling to Lincoln, Nebraska, and Michigan State's going out to visit Rutgers. 2 really frisky teams for 5-0 Michigan, 5-0 Michigan State. Boys, I know I honestly think that Michigan and Michigan State are going to win their respective games, but damn, I am worried for both squads, particularly Michigan State, just for the fact of the just mess that was last year, Mel Tucker's first game coaching the Spartans. But I don't know. I feel confident they'll win, but it's not going to be a pretty win for either team.
All right, let's hear from Adrian on first Michigan State going to New Jersey. Are you as worried as Jelinek about hitting Piscataway and the Scarlet Knights?
Absolutely. Rutgers plays hard for Greg Schiano. I think they were -5 last time I checked, and this is Michigan State's like really first big road game of the season because I'm not counting Northwestern because they're a dumpster fire. But I think they're gonna win, but in a really tight ball game. It's gonna be a lot of Kenneth Walker just pounding the rock, and their defense is looking good with Henderson and playing safety in the backfield. But Mel Tucker has his team rolling right now. I think they're learning as they go. They're way ahead of schedule than I thought they would be. I thought they would maybe have 1 or 2 losses right now. So I'm pretty impressed so far what he is doing because they're only getting good and their recruiting class is looking really good. So, but that Jaden Reed kid, man, he is a stud, bro. He has already 2 punt return for touchdowns, and he's the reason why they came back and beat Nebraska. So I'm gonna go with them. I'm going with Brian too. I got to say Michigan State in a really tight one.
Pete?
Yeah, I mean, I'd gotta take Michigan State, but Rutgers is not the pushover that you kind of expect them to be. You always think, oh, Rutgers week, whatever, it's another bye week. No, they've lost 2 games, and it was to Ohio State, who that was a bit embarrassing. So we'll brush that aside for this conversation. But that in Michigan. But besides that, they're 3-2. They're not a terrible team.
No.
Yeah, and I'll take it right from here. I think scary is the word. Michigan was scared in the fourth quarter when they missed a field goal, and it's a 1-possession game, and all those 3 and outs that they had, and there were the Scarlet Knights with the ball with a chance to tie that game up and maybe feel like it was going to be another overtime game like last year. So, yeah, I think Michigan State will have their hands full. I like them to win. That's a big number. I think it's up to 5.5 right now. But I do think the way MSU, they're finding a way. You mentioned Reed there. They got a good field goal kicker. They've just been finding a way. All those transfers in the portal, like you've seen some other teams that went to it, like Florida State. They hit the transfer portal, and they suck. Mel Tucker knows how to put together a football team, and he's got to play in the right way. I think Michigan State goes out there and gets the win. But just like I saw Nebraska – and that night game against Michigan State, take the Spartans to overtime and had me worried that Michigan State was going to lose that game. Now Michigan's got to go and play a night game in Nebraska. That's a little bit scary here. Nebraska looks like they are an ascending team. And Taylor Martinez, a couple of years ago when he was a freshman, I went to and watch him play. It was late in the game. I had Dylan McCaffrey as the quarterback for Michigan throwing touchdowns and running, and Taylor Martinez, I thought that was going to be the future there of both Michigan and Nebraska. Martinez is still around. Adrian, he could actually come back and play for another year if he wanted to, but are you worried about Michigan's opponent here in Lincoln on Saturday night?
I am absolutely worried about this game for sure. It's a night game on the road. That crowd's going to be fired up. You're playing a mobile quarterback. Martinez is really good, and Nebraska has played better as the season's coming along, especially from when they played Illinois and lost to a really bad Illinois team. It's probably them and Northwestern, 2 worst teams in the Big Ten. But as you can see, Nebraska almost played Oklahoma really tight. They could have pulled that one out.
Good point.
They blew the Michigan State game. I don't know how, but they play really, really hard. They're almost like Rutgers, but they're better. And I think Martinez will come back next year because he's starting to carry a lot of momentum, and maybe Nebraska's going to be even much improved. They got a
4-time captain. Then he'll be maybe.
They got a receiver. I can't remember his name exactly, but he's been playing pretty well. The defense they just play really, really hard, and they just make you fight for everything that you need to get in. This is going to be a tough environment, and this is going to be something that Michigan has to come in and be ready because they get down a score or 2, it's going to be bad. So this is now we're going to see what Cade has.
Throw the ball.
Throw the ball, and throw the football. That's what we need to continue to do. So, like I said last week, he had 17 completions, I believe, and they threw the ball a lot. So I need a big game from him. Actually, I want to see Roman Wilson continue to get the football and stretch it some more. Him and Cornelius, I like that. I like that combination right there.
Yeah, looking at Nebraska and Michigan, Michigan's defense has not forced a lot of turnovers, and Adrian Martinez is a guy to turn over the ball. So that's one thing I'll really be looking for from Michigan's defense, to get turnovers. But the Huskers' offense has finally woken up, and Adrian Martinez is playing better. I mean, he's hitting 67% of his throws, and they've been averaging over 500 yards of offense in the past couple games. So Nebraska's offense is not something to just sit back and relax. Michigan really has to attack. If they can force Martinez to make dumb decisions, what he is known to do, just turn the ball over. I need a couple of picks or a fumble recovery or something from the Michigan defense. But if that happens, Michigan will absolutely win this game, no problem. But I am worried about the turnover margin.
Pete, you got a cakewalk here? What do you got?
Definitely not a cakewalk. I mean, you saw Martinez made some really, really nice plays against MSU where he was in tough situations and he made some good throws. And yeah, Nebraska's hasn't been a joke. Like Adrian said, you saw what their game against Oklahoma was like. They didn't get blown out against the number 6 ranked team. And I keep wanting to say I'm worried about the team. Sometimes I gotta remind myself I'm supposed to be cheering against Michigan State. We talk about them so much. I'm like, oh yeah, they can win this. I'm like, oh no, I want them to lose. Hang on, quick reminder there. But
no, you want them the highly ranked, and maybe the Big Ten East, maybe the Big Ten can get two, end up getting 2 teams into the college football playoff. I don't know.
Maybe.
You know what, Pete? Both you and Adrian, the 2 things that came to mind here about Nebraska, they did do a good job against Spencer Rattler in Oklahoma. That defense. They also held Kenneth Walker III pretty well in check there, and that's no small task. So I look at that, and Adrian also mentioned Roman Wilson. He is questionable with a wrist injury in this game, so Michigan could be down a wide receiver, certainly one that's banged up. The one thing that I don't know is that Michigan hasn't thrown their 4th-string quarterback, Bowman, has thrown an interception. Cade McNamara hasn't been sacked, and Michigan hasn't, played from behind yet. So it's a totally different game. All of a sudden, you get down, they're down a distance, you get sacked, you're down some wide receivers. I mean, this could be a completely flipped script here for U of M. So there's the unknown about the Wolverines if they do have to put it in their quarterback's hand, and they are dealing with some pressure, and next thing you know, they do turn the ball over. All things we don't know. I mean, a lot of guesswork when it comes down to that.
I'm starting to buy into Michigan more and more each week because they have been playing teams that aren't great, but they're not terrible. I mean, like Wisconsin's defense, the best defense they've played, and they did a pretty good job there. Rutgers gave them some trouble, but they beat Rutgers, and I think the same thing's going to happen. If you can go, regardless if the team's good or not, if you can go into another Big Ten stadium and win, that's a big win, regardless if they're ranked or not. So, if Michigan wins this week and goes to 6-0, I'm starting to buy in more and more.
All right, the rest. So here's how it plays out. Michigan State will play Rutgers at 12 o'clock. This is when the Red River showdown takes place as well. And then we've got 4 o'clock. You've got Penn State and Iowa. And then 7:30, it's Michigan, Nebraska. So that's that's actually how my day is going to go. Any other games, or is that how it's going to play out for you guys, Adrian?
Yeah, I'm gonna be tuned in. See Spencer Rattler in Oklahoma. Actually, people have been giving Spence a lot of flack, but man, he played pretty well against Kansas State. I would say Oklahoma's offensive line is not a traditionally good this year as they've normally been. The defense, is suspect, but I still don't believe in Texas yet. So I'm gonna roll with Oklahoma on that. And then I want to talk about this Penn State game with Pete right here. So, okay. I can take you guys up on a friendly wager on that game if you want to. So
I was just throwing up some signs.
I'll get on the wager. I don't like Spencer Rattler at all. I think Oklahoma's fraudulent. I mean, Texas is not good. Don't get me wrong, but I think Oklahoma's on the same tier as Texas here. Like they're good, but they're not great. And on top of that, just screw Oklahoma, man, and just horns up, man. Go Texas.
Clifford's not throwing for 3 touchdowns.
No, absolutely not. But
it's not happening.
Jelinik's a Clifford truther. I guess you didn't know that.
I'm on the Sean Clifford train. But back really quickly to the Red River Showdown or shootout, whatever you want to call it. I love the Big 12. I love heavy offensive games. So I'm all in on big Big 12 games. So I will absolutely be watching Oklahoma and Texas.
All right, Pete, you hear what everybody had to say about I'm a little spoiler for you. I'm going to pick the Nittany Lions. I know you are not, unless you're flipping from what you had to see on Tuesday, but I'm going to pick the Nittany Lions to win that game outright. I'll take the 2 points, but I'm taking Penn State.
I'll save my my final choice for the fifth chapter.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe I picked it, maybe I didn't.
Yeah, Iowa's been good though. I didn't realize they've forced 14 turnovers this season. Sean
Is that on the historic pace?
What was that?
Is that a historic pace they on right now? Because it seems like everything bounces their way.
It seems like they are. I feel like every time I'm watching a college football highlight, it's like, oh, Iowa turned the ball over again. Like, oh, Iowa
they had 7 against Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the flip side to that. Their offense, I mean, Tyler Goodson is awesome. Like, he could be a first-round draft pick. I mean, that guy, get him the ball, you hand it off to him, throw it to him. Next thing you know, he's gone. But Penn State's defense is pretty good. And make Iowa drive the length of the field. Don't turn the ball over and give them a short field. I mean, that's going to be the key to the game. If you can do that, Penn State can win. There's your keys for you.
Yeah.
I'm rolling with Penn State in this game. Iowa's just – the defense can only play at an elite level for so long. And what's the quarterback's name for Iowa? Is it Spencer Petras? That guy's not – they don't ask him to do a lot. And I think Penn State's going to make him beat them. They're not going to let Tyler Goodson beat them. They played a really bad Maryland team. I think so. And I just like what Sean Clifford's doing this year. James Franklin and company are on a roll. I think it'll be a really tight game. So I'm rolling with Penn State in a close one. I'm gonna say 21-17 Penn State.
Pete loving the Lions love. All right, Adrian, it's Keeping the Score at Keeping the Score on Twitter. You got a YouTube show. We love having you on. We're going to do it again coming up next week. So we'll have a lot of football to talk about.
All right, fellas. It'll be a good weekend. Hey, Brian, think about what you want to do the wager on. I'll get back to you on
it. I'll hit you up on Twitter, man. I'll think of something.
No,
all right, man. Sounds good. Hey, Pete, good luck to your Nittany Lions, man.
Thanks, man.
All right.
That's kind of the talk I like. You didn't forget about that little trash talk on the air. He's going to get at you on Twitter. All right, Pete, we'll see you in a minute too, as we are ready to, when we pick the games in the fifth chapter, but we're ready to make the move to chapter 3, and that gets us to a little baseball. And you got the Tigers offseason. They had their post-mortem, as we call it around here, on Monday. Then we had 2 wild card games, and then we had 2 games. One today. There you go. You see the Dodgers walk off late last night. That was an awesome game. Cards got on the board in the first inning, and then there was it was wild because you go into that pitching matchup and you're like, Scherzer, he's pitched 11 times for the Dodgers. The Dodgers have won every game. He wasn't the winning pitcher in every game, but they won every one of those games. So you got old Blue Eye and Brown Eye out there dealing, and he ends up getting chased. The Cardinals get that run. And it's actually old Adam Wainwright, who pitched against the Tigers in the 2006 World Series. He won Game 4 all the way back in the day. So, you had him out there. He was awesome, but he comes down in walk-off fashion. And then, Jelinek, the Red Sox and the Yankees, it was also a flip the script. Like, you're not thinking, if someone is going to get chased, you're not thinking it was going to be Garrett Cole, but it was. And Nathan Eovaldi was awesome there for the Sox. It's been a great start here for the baseball playoffs, the White Sox notwithstanding.
No, yeah. Watching the White Sox Astros game today is just 2 teams I just hate. Anything Chicago sports related I can't root for. And after the whole cheating scandal, I'm just not a big fan of the Astros. I mean, I like Lance McCullers. I've never really liked Alex Bregman, but
he was great today.
He was great. Lance McCullers was unreal today. I mean, I love Michael Brantley too. I've always wanted Michael Brantley on the Tigers, but overall, just one thing that really stuck out to me was the AL wildcard game 2 days ago, where Aaron. Did you read Aaron Boone's comments about saying? Did you hear that? He just said like, "Oh yeah, the rest of the league has caught up to the Yankees." It's like, dude, what are you really talking about here? The Yankees haven't won anything since 2009. And the Yankees overall were not a very good team this year. I would have much rather have seen Toronto or something like that in the play-in game against the Boston Red Sox. But I always love playoff baseball. It doesn't matter what team, what league, whatever. I just love watching playoff baseball. And after that wild card game last night, Chris Taylor's 2-run walk-off bomb in the 9th, I'm all in on the postseason this year. I really wanted the Cardinals to get in and play the Giants, but Dodgers and Giants, it's the first time they're ever playing each other in the postseason.
Yeah, well, baseball is awesome, and one of the parts is like, the Yankees do spend like drunken sailors, and
Mm-hmm.
they got Cole out there. They're paying $36 million a year. And that's why they got him to go out there and win a game like that, and he couldn't get it done. And just what they do in the Bronx when you lose a game. Everybody should be fired. They want to turn over the entire roster. But the biggest thing here is their bullpen totally collapsed late in the year. They win one of those games, and they folded over the weekend. Where if they win one of those games, they've got that game at Yankee Stadium, and if you saw Stanton's, he banged a couple off the monsters. Those would have been a home run anywhere else. Like Fenway Park won that game in part. Stupid call for bringing the guy around, and it was a great relay and everything else. But Judge was mean at the plate. That was awesome. I mean, it was those
that
two
was
games
an aggressive
were great.
Call. That was a really aggressive call.
He was out by 100. He was out by 100 feet. It was a terrible call.
I actually do kind of hop on the train that Aaron Boone should be fired. I don't think Aaron Boone is that great of a coach. I think he inherited a really good team. And I think the Yankees have digressed a little bit each year. I mean, like Giancarlo Stanton, he had a good year this year, but I don't think Stanton's that good of a player. He can just hit massive home runs, and that's about it. But I don't think Aaron Boone is that great of a manager. I just think he inherited a great team. So I am in on getting rid of Boone. I don't think you should fire Brian Cashman because Brian Cashman has, first of all, been there forever and done a pretty good job. But I question some of the decisions Aaron Boone makes, but I just don't think he's that great of a coach.
Yeah, well, you know what? I did see the Tigers' future shortstop today went 2 for 3 with a walk. That's Carlos Correa. And that's the thing. Like, we did have Al Avila come out there on Monday and saying the Tigers were going to spend like drunken sailors. And, everybody's like, well, what's that mean? They're not going to go for Carlos Correa? You just start looking at it, and you can do it any way you want, but, Grossman, Green, Baду in the outfield. So they're pretty set when you just look at the opening day, talking about Riley Green. He is going to be their Torque. Hopefully makes a team out of spring training, and he's going to be their first baseman, and Scope's going to be at second. And we know Jamer is going to be over there at third. They do need some kind of a catcher to put in there with Haas. I mean, you can't just pencil him in and say, he's going to be the guy, especially since Rogers got hurt. But, they don't have a shortstop.
No, Haas
so
is
they need
not
to go out
everyday
there.
Catcher.
And there's a million shortstops out there. And Carlos Correa is the best. And he's a free agent. And he of course, played with AJ Hinch when they won the World Series. So there's the connection. And you just got to go out there and you got to pay the money to get him.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the more I thought about it and like looking up Trevor Story's stats and all that between Colorado, his home and roads, between Coors Field and not playing in Colorado, I can't sign a big money Colorado Rockies player to not play in Colorado for 81 games anymore. Like, I just don't want like a Troy Tulowitzki 2.0 to happen. So I'm out on Trevor Story, but I kind of made a wish list for the Tigers, and I picked 4 positions. I picked obviously a shortstop, a corner outfielder, just because I like Baду more as kind of a role player type deal. And if I can get more thunder out of the outfield, I'd be happy. So a corner outfield spot, a catcher, and a starting pitcher. So my ideal wish list would be Carlos Correa. Hopefully takes some sort of discount because I think he's worth like a $25 million a year player.
He's not taking any discount.
I mean, he's worth $25 million compared to like a Trevor Story's going to get like
he might get $35 million.
Oh, there's no way in hell Correa gets $35 million. Just for
he's getting over $30 million.
Correa has yet to play over. He's played one complete season. He's hit over 300 one time. Carlos Correa is a damn good shortstop. He's not an elite shortstop.
He's the best one on the market.
Compared to Corey Seager or Trevor Story, you'll take Correa over Corey Seager.
He's better than both of them. Look at his OPS. He was the third best in baseball this year.
I don't go solely on OPS, but if I had an unlimited bank account, I would go after Corey Seager for a left-handed bat in the lineup. But the other guys I'm looking at besides Correa would be Michael Conforto in left or right field. I just want a little bit more pop because we don't have a ton of pop on the team. Yan Gomes to catch because I think Yan Gomes.
That's fine.
Great.
They need a catcher. I'm with you on that one.
I love that. And then finally, one more starter pitcher. Excuse me. And my guys were between Dylan Bundy, Noah Syndergaard, or Lance Lynn. After Lance Lynn's performance today, I don't know. He wasn't all-star this year. He pitched well, but
Well, you got to trade for him. He just signed an extension.
I know. Yeah,
So.
I also just found that out too. So that's why I had to cross Lance Lynn off. But I would probably go with Correa, Michael Conforto, Yan Gomes, and Dylan Bundy for my ideal wish list this offseason.
Well, I like the Gomes idea. They're at catcher. The thing about Seager, like the Dodgers got so much, stacks of cash. Like, are they going to just be like, just let Seager go? I mean, like, they'll give him whatever he wants. I don't think Houston's going to do that. So I think Correa will be out there. I do think the A's, who are notoriously cheap, their shortstop Marcus Semien, his numbers look pretty good. I'm going to put him out there as well. I mean, Story, it's tough when you look at the splits where he's at in Colorado. It worked out all right for Arenado, leaving Colorado. So I put Story still there in the mix. Story and Semien is the one that I'm looking at as short as well. I don't want him being like, well, we couldn't get anyone, so we ended up going with Adrolton Simmons, on a 1 year, $7 million. That's not going to do it for me. No. They need one of those big names.
Yeah.
To come up, and I like where you're at.
Would Trey Turner be a free agent this year? Pete, I don't know if you can look that up for me. Can you look up when Trey Turner is a free agent? Because I would put him on the list too. I love.
Well, they just traded for him. Well, he is, but he's what's he? 30 years old. I mean, that's the part.
Is he 30?
He'd probably be 29.
I had no idea. 29. I know Simeon's 31. I know that. So that's why I'm out of Marcus Semien. If Trey Turner is 30, I'm out. I thought he was like a 25-year-old player. I didn't realize that.
He's older than that.
Did not know that, but
we'll have the boys check it out.
Yeah, we'll have them look it up. But overall, I think those are 4 players that the Tigers could somewhat find. Because if you look at the playoff teams, every payroll is above $160 million. It's either 160 or 180 million. So obviously the teams in the playoffs are spending money. And the Tigers are only at $84 million right now. So they have a ton of money to spend. And I really want Chris Hill to take one out of his dad's playbook and just out of his checkbook, and just spend like a drunken sailor, as you said. That's what I want for the Tigers to do this year.
Yeah, Pete, when you say he won't be a free agent, so we talked about like 20 guys, so I don't know who the he is.
I'm assuming he's talking about Trey Turner.
Oh, okay.
So he's under contract. So they may just the Dodgers might just let Corey Seager walk and just have Trey Turner be the everyday shortstop.
Look at that.
He's 26. Cray is 26. I'm in on Trey Turner, but I mean, he's not a free agent, so can't do that.
Maybe we trade Casey Mize for him. He was the best shortstop in the game this year.
Yeah, he was. I'm not dishing Casey Mize. I'm not going to relive that conversation.
Okay. All right. So there's baseball for us. Pretty solid baseball talk. That now gets us to where we at the fourth chapter. That's you.
Pistons and Wings, man. So that is a great time of year just to have Detroit Pistons basketball with their brand new court, which I love. It's so much better than the red outline. Did you see the new court?
Yeah, I like it.
It's more of a natural color with the blue outline, and we got the Wings back. Unfortunately, the Wings lost last night in Columbus 4-2, and the Pistons did beat the Spurs at LCA 115-105. But do you want to talk about Wings or Pistons first?
Wings.
All right, just 3 things I looked at for the Wings, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce this dude's last name at all, so I'm just going to stick with the Ned. The goalie, yeah. So, do you want to give it a shot or not? It's like
if I had it in front of me,
Nedeljkovic or something like that.
It's actually just as it looks on paper. So you don't have to worry about it. Just say the goalie.
Yeah, the goalie, number 29, Ned. I don't know. I'm just going to call him that. But he's coming from the Carolina Panthers, or Carolina Hurricanes, excuse me, who are a much better team than the Wings. But I mean, he does only have a handful of games under his belt, but I think he's a solid upgrade for a goalie, for our goalie position, because the Wings are really going to ride or die on a goalie this year. I mean, I'm not projecting the Wings to be that great, but we definitely need a better goalie. That Mortiz Sider, I'm hoping he's going to be a solid anchor on the defense, playing with Danny DeKeyser. I think that's going to be the ideal pairing. I really want Mortiz Sider to play really well all year long and just be an anchor. And finally, you think Bobby Ryan's going to make the team? Yes or no?
Yes.
You think so? I think so. I think he will as well. I heard someone on the radio say today that the Wings are trying to stay in-house, so I think that's going to help with Bobby Ryan. But Bobby Ryan was productive in 33 games last year. 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points total. I like Bobby Ryan on the 3rd or 4th line, but I'm projecting the Wings not to be great in the Atlantic Division this year, but it's definitely going to be better than the dumpster fire that was the past couple of years.
Yeah, when you look at Alex, it's just as it sounds, Nedeljkovic. When you take a look at it, Moritz Sider as well. So when it comes down to me with the Red Wings here, I look. It is a week from today. They'll be at Tampa. I don't take a whole lot in terms of watching exhibition games. 8 exhibition games a joke when it comes down to that many. So I don't need that. But the big story for the Wings here is Lucas Raymond, their first round pick here. A lot of buzz here. And he's playing on the top line. Seeing him up, if they're going to have Moritz Sutter back on the blue line and Lucas Raymond on the first line with Dylan Larkin, well, that's exciting to me. So that'll be something, and I'm really looking forward to the opener, see how they look. I don't care, the goalie that we've been talking about, he struggled here, but let's see the exhibition. I don't care what the score is. I don't really care how they're playing. I'm waiting for opening night to see how they look there. But Lucas Raymond doing enough where he could make the opening night roster, to me, that is buzzworthy, and all eyes will be with the Wings when they have to go down and take on Tampa Bay, their nemesis, on opening night.
That game is going to be hard to watch because Tampa Bay is still loaded and still really good. But I'm going to be forcing myself to watch a ton of just Red Wings hockey and hockey in general. With the NHL being back on ESPN, I'm really excited for just to get back into hockey, and I'm really looking forward to watching the Wings grow this year, next year, and hopefully compete in 1 or 2 years from now.
Yeah, well, I just hope they make it interesting, and they are going to be a team where if they lose Verana, was not something that made me feel real good.
Yeah.
But so we'll see if they're able to. They got to hold our interest, because last year they weren't able to do that. And by halfway through the season, it was something where they just fell off and they weren't very entertaining. Much like the Pistons. But they actually did hold our interest, even though they were tanking all the way away. And
they tanked.
I noticed that
though.
Cade Cunningham wasn't playing in that opener last night against the Spurs, but I did see that there's only 4 preseason games for the NBA. I like that. They've cut that in half, so that's pretty good. And I also like that their opener is 2 weeks from yesterday, or a week from this Wednesday, October 20th. So that's pretty sweet against the Bulls, the regular season opener and the home opener, and October 20th. I think we all just write that date down and be all in, see what the Pistons look like on opening night.
Do you think Killian Hayes is going to be more and more of the odd man out now that Cade Cunningham's here? Do you think they're going to try to addition him? Do you think they can coexist on the court together?
No, I think he's only in his second year. It takes point guards. One thing, it takes point guards a lot longer to develop than it does other players. And, Killian Hayes, he got hurt. And then it took him a while. I think that from what I saw last year, he's got one above average skill set, and that is passing, which isn't bad for a point guard. But, you got to give a guy a little bit of time here. I don't think even if he struggles this year that people should be, well, let's just get rid of him, it's over, or anything like that. You got to give some guys some time. Although having said that, I thought with Sekou, I mean, he was 18 years old, and they had him out there as a rookie. And I think it came down to he just didn't have the desire. He had a little bit of that Darko disease. Like, he just liked being in the league. Like, you could see that he didn't have a sculpted body or anything. And so the Pistons just moved him out for a couple of draft picks. Now he looks like he could be out playing in the G League all year long. Like, you got to be able to fight. Even if, you're 18 years old in the league, you just can't be going out to the clubs and everything else. But everything I've heard is that, Killian Hayes is the opposite of that. He's a guy that's one of those first in the gym and last in the league. So I think the future is still bright for Hayes.
No, I understand that the future's still bright. I am just little worried about having 2 young guards like that. But like you said, Killian Hayes is damn good at passing the ball. And I think if he limits his turnovers this year, him and Cade can be deadly. I'm just worried about 3 or 4 years down the line that if they can both coexist in the court. But as of right now, I think they absolutely can.
Yeah, look, Cade looks like he can play any position on the floor, which is awesome. I'm not going to get caught up with, he's the point or if he's the 2 or if, if they can coexist. Bring it up, fill the lane, ball. I mean, that's what the name of the game is now, positionless basketball. So, but, you do need a point guard to be able to run things and bring it up in certain situations. And Hayes looks like he's going to be that guy to do that because, Cunningham's so versatile, can do everything else.
I totally agree with that. At the end of the day, I think the Pistons are going to be fun to watch this year.
Oh, they're going to be fun to watch. There's no doubt about that.
Overall, are you going to be more in on the Wings this year or more in on the Pistons? I think I'm going to be more in on the Pistons just for the fact they have Cade, Killian, made some good free agent moves.
Yeah, well, I think the Pistons have better prospects. I have them winning 33 games, and that's going to be enough to get them into one of those play-in games where I don't think the Red Wings are going to be able to get in. And I think losing Verana is, that's a big slap down. Plus, the division that they play in and the players that just look out there, they're going with Raymond, they're going with Sider. I mean, they're an ascending team, but they're still, I don't know, saying they're a year away from being a year away, but they're not. Hopefully next year they're competing for the playoffs. This year, I think there's an outside chance that the Pistons can. Although you start looking at the numbers where Vegas is at, I think a lot of people in Detroit, we're all either going to make a lot of money or we're all going to lose because I think everybody's going to bet the over on the win total because it's below 30. And I think most people think that the Pistons are going to win more than that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's going to be right around 30, 35 games. Absolutely.
All right, let's get to the fifth chapter.
Let's
we got
do
some
it.
football to watch.
Rob, let's hit the music. Let's pound these picks out really quickly. We're gonna bring Peter Finelli back in. And so last week, segment 2 of the picks, but last week I went 2-4. Fifth went 3-3, and Pete also went 2-4. So, boys, starting off in college.
So I'm the expert, is what you guys are saying.
Yeah, exactly. You're 500 in the expert. But all right, so Penn State visiting Iowa. The Hawkeyes are laying 1.5 points. Pete, what do you think?
I'm very nervous about this game, but it's going to be very heavily defensive, low scoring. But I think Clifford is going to turn to his number one guy. He's going to look for Dotson. They're going to have a big night. And I think I might have just hated myself too much on Tuesday for saying that they were going to lose. Just I've switched it around. As they're undefeated. I can't say that it's going to end now.
You know what? You can be a flip-flopper, and you just can't do it all the time. So I've got no problem with you flipping back to Penn State. I like Penn State in this one. You know what? The two players in here, Goodson and Dotson, I think Dotson's going to be the difference. I think Penn State just needs to make Iowa drive the length of the field. Don't be giving them these short fields where they, 20 yards and they can just go in. I like Penn State outright, 20-17.
Give me the Hawkeyes. The Lions have been only rushing the ball for about 3 or 4 yards a game or per attempt. So I like Iowa's defense in that. Give me Iowa. Game number 2, Ole Miss is hosting the number 13 Razorbacks. The line is at 6, or Ole Miss is laying 6 points. Peter, who do you think?
I'm taking Arkansas. Both teams got embarrassed last week. I mean, yes, it was to 1-2 in the nation, but -6. Give me Arkansas.
Yeah, this was the teeth got kicked in bowl, after we looked at what happened last week. But you know what? I think Ole Miss, Corral, the quarterback, the Hogs defense kind of hung in there, but I'm more impressed with Ole Miss's offense than I am with the Hogs defense. Give me Ole Miss to cover that spread. Ole Miss and the Rebs.
I think we lost Pete, but I'm with you. I think the Hogs are going to cover. I think it's just that simple. Give me the Hogs at +6. Game number 3.
Did we lose you, Pete? No, here he is.
Or, excuse me, Rob.
Okay, Rob.
Game number 3, number 9, Michigan traveling to Nebraska. Michigan laying 2.5 on the road. Pete.
Yeah, 2.5. It's small. I'm absolutely taking Michigan on this. Nebraska's going to give them a fight, but don't get me wrong here. Michigan all the way.
Michigan 5th with Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan hasn't turned the ball over. They haven't had a sack. Their fourth stringer threw a pick here. They haven't played from behind. I think they might have to do some of that. And Roman Wilson's wrist injury scares me a little bit here. Also, I think the Nebraska defense and what they were able to do against Kenneth Walker in the run game, what they were able to do with Spencer Rattler was pretty good. But I don't, you know what? The Martinez, don't let him, he's going to get a couple 10, 15, 20-yard runs. Don't let him get these, 80-yard runs like I've seen him do in the past. I think Michigan's got enough speed to be able, and a good enough game plan here to be able to contain him. I like Michigan 27-22. I'll lay the 3.5.
Yeah, I think Michigan's just going to win outright, no problem. So give me the Wolverines. And finally, Michigan State traveling to Piscataway. Pete, Michigan State laying... I lost my number. 4.5.
4.5. I'm taking Rutgers to cover the spread. I don't know about the win, but they'll at least cover. And that's what my grandfather said, so I'm going to take his word for it.
Hell yeah.
Well, I like Grandpa Finelli here. The one thing I think is that I've seen the line has gone up to 6. So I don't know if that's going to do. What number are you putting it at?
I saw it at 4.5.
A big difference in trying to change my opinion of how it looks, but I'll check it out. Why don't you make your pick, and I'm going to see if I can get an updated spread on that. I mean, this line is moving.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Rutgers to cover the 4.5 as well. I think Michigan State's gonna win, but it's not gonna be pretty. And then if you guys want to jump to 2 NFL games real quick, then we'll call it a day. For tonight,
it's 5. Give me. I'm with you guys. Give me Rutgers in the points.
Rutgers will cover. Absolutely, let's do it. 2 NFL games. First game tonight: Rams at Seahawks. Rams laying 2.5 on the road. Pete, who are you taking?
Give me the Rams. I got some money down on them right now, so I'm really hoping they cover it now.
Oh, Pete, you know what? You're like, I'm old enough to be your dad. It's like, you're my boy. I'm with you. I got some money down on this game, too. If you want to really hear the reasons, go back to Chapter 2 because I broke it down there. I like Matt Stafford and the Rams tonight.
And finally, we are going to do Lions.
You making a pick, Dominic? Who'd you pick there?
I picked the Rams 2.5.
Okay.
Winning outright without a doubt.
All right.
And finally, Lions at Vikings. Vikings laying 9.5. Pete, who you got?
I wanted to say originally, it's going to be, one of those fight back games for the Lions, and maybe they'll get within 9.5, but there's too many injuries, and the Vikings are a better team than I think their record shows. Give me the Vikings.
Well, I'm going to I can't wait. Rob Diddy's probably going to pick the Lions outright. He'll be the only one in Detroit. I went with an alternate spread here.
Oh, boy.
I am going with the Vikings minus 19. I get plus 270. I think they're going to win at 37-17, but wow. I get plus 270. Minnesota minus 19, plus 270. But if our line is 9, is that what you have it at? I'll easily take the Vikings, obviously, and that one too, because that just records a W against you guys, and I can keep my lead.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings as well. Too many injuries. If the offensive line was relatively healthy and DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson were relatively healthy, I would say the Lions could cover, but nope, not today. Vikings all day, minus 9.5.
All right, and Banker here, what's he say? I have no idea what happened, but Chrome blocked up. What about your pick? Are you going to pick the Lions, Banker? You've done it every week here. You picking them outright?
Yes.
Oops. Oh. That was my bad.
Lions all day. Yes. Let's keep it going.
See? Lions by there 7. It is. Lions by 7.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
There it is. He's made his pick. Respect the man's decision. And look at there. He won 150 last night. Respect his pick.
Yeah, not on the Lions, though.
Yeah.
I always say that when I used to play basketball. I would go up. Guy would hit me on the arm. I would maybe wait a second to see if it went in. But then guys would complain. I said, respect my call. Respect his call.
I'm not going to respect that call. That's asinine that you picked the Lions, especially with all the injuries on the line.
Producer, not only a player hater, but a producer hater. I love it.
The Photoshops are coming fast and hard after this.
Rob is a fine producer. Terrible at picking Lions football games. There's no.
It's my bit. It's my bit. I got to keep it going.
I will run around my neighborhood naked if the Lions win that game tomorrow.
All right, let's do it.
I'm just throwing that out there.
How about you have your girlfriend run around naked? We want that a little more than you run around naked.
Okay.
Just run around naked together.
That is a great way to end the show right there.
All right. Thanks, Rob Diddy, for producing it. Adrian Myers for joining us here. Pete Finelli, boy, we hope you have that. You hopefully have that enthusiasm coming back on Tuesday after this weekend. I hope I have the same way after Michigan heads up to Lincoln. And for Rob and Pete and Ryan Jelinek, the player hater, I'm Dennis Fithian. We will talk with you next week. It's Detroit Sports Talk. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Happy birthday, Julia.